PlayStation 5 Pro. Should I care? Should I want to invest into the PlayStation 5 Pro? Currently, I don't have one. Not really interested. But I'm scouring the internet, trying to figure out if this is something I should be investing into. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out of here, coming at you another video. PlayStation 5 Pro, man. You know, look, I did not really use this series, the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. Part of me felt like it was a little bit not worth the investment. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the PlayStation 5 Pro is following suit, but me being me, I felt like there's some stuff I can react to. You know, I have one particular video that everyone has told me, Addict, you got to watch. And I figured these days, you know, maybe I should do a live. Well, not live. We're going to record this reaction. We're going to talk about it, talk about the stuff in it. Obviously, I don't know how long this video is going to be. Usually I try to keep them 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Usually, but I don't know. This might be a 20-minute video. Depends on what's going on here. I've not seen this video by Digital Foundry. Making this clear. Addict has not seen this video. And I will be pausing probably pretty frequently when he's talking about whatever's going on in this video. But let's pop over here, man. Let's pop over here. I'm probably just going to keep it on this. I could go this one. Yeah, let's go this one. This one actually probably pulls this off a little bit better. All right, but let's start this, guys. Let's start this. Oh, my God.
Okay, let's move on to final impressions, final verdict, so to speak.
And keep in mind, I am not reacting to an hour and 5-minute video. So we're going to watch the conclusion, the overall impressions, and we're going to see what goes from there. I'm not saying I'm not open to buying a PlayStation 5 Pro. I got a PlayStation 5, the bulk, you know, the bulk physical edition. Wouldn't be too much to just trade that sucker in a GameStop. But let's continue.
We can't get away from the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro is an expensive piece of kit. It's $700 US, £700 in the UK. Prices seem to ratchet up even more in Europe, I think partly because of the VAT side of things.
Europe and Japan are real bad.
Yep. And then you've basically, you know, if you are invested in the physical media, which a lot of the audience are going to be, bearing in mind, you know, who it's targeted at, you've basically got to buy that $80 optical drive. It's £100 in the UK, which is...
That's one of the biggest things I disagree with. I'm like, PlayStation, this sucker is a premium product. $700. Why couldn't you have just put that disk drive in? Now, obviously, you know, I understand from like a consumer standpoint, it would have probably raised it by $100. I'm sure a lot of people would have appreciated, you know, giving a separate disk drive. I guess to me, I see a $700 system that doesn't have a disk drive make me scratch my head a little bit.
It's remarkable.
120 in Europe.
And then there's the whole concept of the stand that I paid £25 for.
No, the stand is crazy
it's
too.
It's expensive, but John, I would like your impressions first. Do you think this is like a luxury item? What's your take?
I can answer
here?
that.
Wow.
A $700 console is a luxury item, especially when there's one already for the cheaper. There's no denying this sucker is luxury. The definition of luxury.
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, clearly, when you look at the price point, yes, it is a luxury item for sure. More so than the PS4 Pro, I think, which was priced to essentially replace the base PS4, right?
Spider-Man
That's not the
behind
case
him.
here. And it becomes even worse. You mentioned the disk drive MSRPs, but good luck getting one at the MSRP right now. They are exceptionally pricey online as a result of low stock. So I hope Sony can resolve that quickly.
What's going on with that?
But there are things about
Hold up. Look at this. Hold on, you guys probably can't see. Let me switch scenes. What? This person's going ham in this chair.
are a little like people loved in the unboxing the way you tore open that packaging like Hulk, right? It was funny, if a bit excessive. Problem is like for a product that
I will say that the outside looking in, when you look at something like, the packaging of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and keep in mind the PlayStation 5 didn't really have good packaging either. Like, one thing you could say about the Series X, I never bought a Series S, so I couldn't tell you exactly, my thought process on the Series S. But one thing you could say is, like, it is substantially a better value in terms of when you open it, it feels premium. And the fact that, like, the PlayStation 5 Pro, all these years later, after they got all that criticism from the PlayStation 5, it's crazy that they still went with this type of packaging.
costs north of 500 in every region at this price level, I really feel like they let people down in terms of the packaging. It doesn't really matter for the overall product, but like you expect something a little bit more premium, right? Like, you can still have that Apple-like experience. I mean, Microsoft does it with the Xbox Series X, I would say, which feels very premium when you open that box. Like, just having that flimsy cardboard sleeve and this, like, artery slicing the cardboard in there, it's very cheaply put together. And I don't buy sustainability arguments because Microsoft's packaging is also sustainable. They could have done better there. But ultimately, that's just that initial user experience, the first consumer moment of truth, as they say. And then when you get to the product itself, it's targeted towards people like us, I think, right? We have an eye for this stuff. We do appreciate this.
Yeah, I don't think that these mid-gen refreshes, I personally don't feel like they are designed for the casual. They are consumed for us and us alone. So I can agree with them on that, like, entirely.
Details, we notice them. I think there is definitely going to be a subset of people that will not be able to spot differences. There's not going to be anything major where they'll be like, wow, this is a huge upgrade.
Spider-Man.
It's more like...
I did enjoy Spider-Man too.
It has, so far...
I wouldn't be against going back and play it.
Improvements, but also, it's like...
See, but at the same time, like, even though when it comes to... I feel like the biggest issue with the PlayStation 5 Pro is that $700 price tag, because it's so significantly higher than like the $500 or the $400. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 4 Pro is $400. Put in the comment section below. It's been so long since I did that. Obviously, the 5 Pro is doing better than the 4 Pro. It's trending a little bit above it. I think that came out here too recently. People look at that $200 difference between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, and they're just expecting better. And I think, when you get good performance on certain games, it definitely, shows that, the value was worth it. But as far as like the overall package, how many games is doing that? How many developers are taking advantage of that hardware?
It kind of fixes problems in certain other games as well. So it's like a way to improve games that maybe had issues in the past, like Elden Ring, which is you can't really sell a product on that, but that is a thing that it does, which is nice. So I like it. I think it's a nice machine. I would want this either way, because I do play a lot of console games still. I think they've made some strange decisions with like the disc drive not being included by default. It lives up to that Pro name, I guess. If you feel like you are actually...
And I think that's another big thing that, people like me in the outside looking in, when it comes to whether or not we want to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 Pro, we are spending more money for less features from the previous one. No stand, no stand, the wings, if you got any custom wings, you're not able to just snap those onto the current one. No physical drive. Like, a lot of weird decisions, because, like, especially the wings thing, like, that's so anti-consumer PlayStation. You literally just sold the PlayStation 5 Slim. You sold those wings, and to me, like, they're not the same design, but why why would you offer wings on that Slim when you probably knew you were going to change it? To me, it's like it's wanting them to double down on more wings. And look, I get it from like a business perspective. That's probably ingenious, but as a consumer, that's very slimy, and that shouldn't be co-signed.
A console professional, as we are, then yeah, that's probably a good thing to go for. But if you're somebody that's not like super tuned into these things and don't really notice a lot of these flaws, or if you're using a much smaller or older TV and you sit further away from it, I think that also influences things where you probably won't be able to see it. But if you're like me, using a fairly big TV, I think Rich and I were both using 77-inch now, and I sit rather close to it, so the benefit is extremely obvious to me. But yeah, those are the kinds of questions you need to think about.
Okay. Before I go to you, Oliver, I just want to say, John, that ripped cardboard recycles just as well as intact cardboard, and I don't need the box of my PS5 Pro. You know, I'm
See, but I disagree with that, man. Like I understand it doesn't matter if it's ripped or not if you're going to recycle it. Some people keep their boxes. It's about the experience, and I think a lot of you could put in the comment section below. When I open up a new product, whether it's a phone, whether it's any form of electronic, even a modem, computer, sometimes, and a lot of times to me, that opening up that computer is an event by itself, or opening up the PlayStation 5 Pro. And when the packaging is just done so icky, and I'm using that word, and I know some of you are going to be real cringed with that. It's just, I look at that and I'm just like, man, like, especially $700. Like, you spend $700 and this is the type of packaging you get. I do think it matters. Like, does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Of course not. But I do think it matters.
I'm not going to sell it or anything. I'm not going to repackage it and put it into storage. It's going to be used. You know, it's not the sort of packaging, as you say, it's not high quality packaging that you want to keep forever. No, it's disposable.
Actually, there is one more point I want to mention for the betterment of the audience, is the experience of getting the system and transferring your stuff over. If you do the system transfer, it is long, but there's a nice thing here that we have to mention. Actually, two nice things. If you take out the NVMe drive, if you installed an additional NVMe drive in your PS5, you can just transfer that to the Pro, and it will work.
Oh, cool.
That's what's up.
You don't need to re-download everything. The only caveat there is if you plug in your new PS5 Pro, start to download some games, then power it off, and then put the drive in there, and there's a duplicate, it will delete those duplicates from the NVMe, the ones that are already being installed or partially installed on the main system. So I recommend doing that switch right away, and they will just appear.
And see, that's what I like about these type of breakdowns is I myself probably wouldn't have known that, wasted some time. So that is definitely some good information
in your game catalog, which is awesome. Lastly, there's the battery. There's the CMOS. I guess it's like a CMOS. It's the little dime battery, right? Mm-hmm. There was all the talk about the activation and things, and needing to replace batteries in consoles with like the PS4 and the PS3, right?
I love how they let John like get his bars off, man. He's over here speaking for 3 days.
Activate and play digital games, which is a problem.
24 hours later,
battery, right? Well, they actually made the battery very usable, user serviceable now. There's a little port under one of the plates, just like the NVMe drive, where you can pop it right out. So, good thing to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to come to you now, Oliver, for your final impressions, but I do know that directly after the playtest you did at Sony HQ, I asked you exactly the same question. and I'm guessing that your opinion probably hasn't changed that much.
Probably not. No, I basically have the same opinion, which is that
can't be
I think it's
good.
very compelling hardware. I think that a lot of the mix
there's a
that you'd
but.
want out of
Guys, tell me this isn't the biggest butt we about to have.
More advanced console, possibly even a next-gen consoles here, in terms of an improvement in RT capability that's big, machine learning capability, obviously faster raster performance. It's improving where it matters for a mid-gen refresh model. That's especially important here because there's kind of an open mandate for developers in terms of what they do. If they add PSSR, if they add ray tracing, if they improve resolution, it's not like PS4 Pro where the target was squarely on high-res displays. That's also kind of here with 8K, although I expect 8K will be a fairly marginal feature. Not a lot of games will support.
It's crazy to put 8K on the box of anything.
It's going to be much more about like these
I can't stand that
improvements and image quality improvements that you might get from PSSR and things like this. More interesting things that developers will hopefully do with the console. At the same time, I think the early software, there's some really strong efforts from Sony in particular, from Square Enix. There's some very strong stuff.
I do hear Final Fantasy VII Rebirth
4K 60
has a
performance modes, objectively
huge
speaking, good-looking 4K 60 performance
jump
modes,
in
with
performance on
PSSR
this.
in a lot of titles. In Horizon,
See, that's the thing. Like, there's going to be a bunch of titles that take advantage of this hardware, and it's going to be reasons that you would need a PlayStation 5 Pro. I do think that if you primarily play on the PlayStation 5, you should probably invest into the Pro. I don't do that. I play on PC and I play on the Xbox Series X. It's not here. It's in my room. But so I understand the perspective if you primarily on PlayStation 5 or you use it a lot throughout the year, because I only really play exclusives on it and like every now and then like a game. I can understand why you should probably invest into this, because you are getting the better experience, especially having like a $250, $300 trade-in value. But I don't know if it's necessarily worth it, or you should. You know, it would be a good choice to do it, but I don't know if it's like something that you absolutely need. You don't need it, but you know, the performance on these newer games. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for newer games. Look, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, love that game, but guess what? I already beat that game. There's no real reason for me to invest to the PlayStation 5 Pro at this time, because I've already beat one of the biggest games that I would play on it.
Horizon without PSSR, but incredible image quality there. You're getting really, really high quality software that is taking advantage of the console in a good way, especially for early efforts. But there are also some games that aren't faring so well. Obviously, we talked about Dragon Age, we talked about Dragon's Dogma, we talked about Alan Wake a little bit in some image quality aspects, at least in Alan Wake. So I do think that developers maybe need to get to grips with the hardware a bit more. Maybe target resolutions might need to change, output resolutions might need to change. Things like this, visual features might need to change in terms of what developers are targeting for their pro modes as well. But overall, I like new console hardware. And the PS5 Pro is very bold and interesting new console hardware, breaking some new ground and creating a new class of experiences, importantly, above PS5, above Series X, something that's going to give you the best experience on consoles in all likelihood for most software. And I'm looking forward to covering it. I'm looking forward to seeing what developers...
All right, guys. So I don't think I need to watch the rest. It's like 3 or 4 minutes left. When it comes down to it, nothing that I've seen on the PlayStation 5 Pro has really sold me on it yet. Doesn't mean I won't buy one eventually. You know, I think it would come down to PlayStation exclusives. You know, maybe the next Final Fantasy would probably jump me on that. God of War. That's pretty much it, because I'm not a big Horizon fan. I think I might try that game out eventually, but I'm not a big Horizon fan. I think I should try that out, but as far as like right now, the games that would get me on there, like you give me an Infamous, really big fan of Infamous, I would probably be a little bit more, entertaining that ideal. But when it comes to exactly everything going on, like I look at the stuff that's going on, the games that are showing. Is there improvement on games? Yes, but once again, I'm not the kind of person to go back and play older games, so I don't necessarily think that's going to really, get me to the point where I'm going to invest. So I think I will say, even though the PlayStation 5 Pro has showed a lot of good mixed reviews, there's been a lot of people that's enjoyed their time with it. I myself am willing to wait until there's more games taking advantage of it and PlayStation gets their studios up and going. I think that's what it comes down to. A PlayStation 5 Pro going to do what the PlayStation 5 Pro does. This is the definition of a premium product. It's not really necessary. It would be the ideal thing would be to have this because you could play these games at a better performance. But I don't think it's one of those things that you need to go out and buy one. You know, if you take gaming seriously and you don't want to go the PC route, then I can understand you picking this up. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys got to play PlayStation 5. You got to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro. Very curious to hear you guys' opinion on that. Put all that in the comment section below. Appreciate everyone for coming out, man. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content over here. Follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict IOP. I will be streaming Death Stranding today. Probably almost immediately after this video. But I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. I'll probably get a PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes down in price to some degree. I don't know. Depends. See you guys.